Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our Chloe greeting card. Now, we wanted to do a set of cards that kind of were reminiscent of our fashionable ladies, but we wanted to have some more direction with what they'd be used for. This one specifically is going to be perfect for a wedding shower. I'm sorry, not a wedding shower, a baby shower, or if you just want to send a congratulations for a new baby or an announcement for a new baby, whatever it may be. And no, I'm not hinting at anything. I got my hands full as it is. Here is our card base. Now what I want you to look at here is that the front of it, you'll notice that there are a series of little markers, and that's just to help you with the positioning of this little frame that we're actually going to put around it. Okay, but to begin, we're going to start off by sort of putting the landscape together. So obviously you want to fold this in half. Now if you are using the standard version of this, you want to make sure that you fold it in half, because I believe we omitted most of the score marks because we wanted this the seam to be nice and strong, because we are putting a little pop-up bag inside of it. Okay, so you're just literally going to fold it in half like you would, like you did in school when you were little. Okay, but this is going to be our front. We're going to start off by putting this little piece down right here, okay, this little green piece, and this is going to be aligned on the bottom, flush with the bottom, flush with both the left and right. Okay, so let's get moving here. It's a really pretty card, and it's got a few layers to it, but like I said, it's a one-of-a-kind sort of card, and you know that feeling when your recipient gets a card that you've made and they're like, wow, you made this? And okay, you say, yep, I sure did. Nothing like handmade. You don't see that as much these days. Well, you do with you guys, obviously. Okay, so that is going to go there. Okay, next we're going to put down this white layer here. So go ahead and get your glue going on there. And the cool thing about all three of these ladies is that we've made it, based on your requests, we've made it so that you can really customize their hair, their outfits, their skin, and there's really not much, you're not gonna have to mess around too much to accomplish any of that. Okay, so we got the white piece on. This piece is gonna go right on top here. These are like little mountains in the distance. Okay, and that's gonna go right on top there. You can kind of see how it and where it falls. Go easy on the glue here. And just do your best to match that up. Pardon me if my head is in the way. It is pretty large. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to put down this little fence here, and that's going to go right flush right here like a little puzzle. Okay, so I did as much inking as I possibly could. Now obviously there's a lot of little details on this little fence, and it's hard to really get ink into all those little areas, and honestly I feel like because it's hard to get in there, and even if you do get in there, it's not really going to show up very much, so I just kind of omitted it. I've got so much going on with Chloe that I don't know that you really need to spend a lot of time on just the fence. And we got the trees in the background, or the tree I should say. Let me scoop myself up a little bit. Okay, all right, so next we're going to put down our tree. Okay, and the tree is multi-layered as well. And the way we're going to do this, I kind of have it laid out already. We're going to start off with this layer here. And you can see as part of the fence, there's a kind of a little guide, and obviously this is also going to be flush on the top and on the left. Okay, and then it should just terminate right there like that. This is the only part right here that I inked, because everything else is going to be covered up by layers that go on top of it. So obviously no sense in putting ink on a bunch of stuff that you're eventually going to cover up. Not only is it a waste of ink, but it's a waste of time. So ink strategically so that you don't have to sit here forever inking things that don't even matter. Okay, so again, focus on getting it lined up top left first. Make sure it's nice and flush. And you can see that this side here also needs to be lined up. Okay. So I would focus on making sure that it's flush on the left and right and top, and then concern yourself with the positioning of the tree trunk. Okay. And if you don't get every little section down, don't even worry about it. Grab yourself a scrap piece of paper like I have here. Whenever I have scraps, I always end up taking some of them. If they're too small to use for other projects, I just take them to my, my paper cutter, and I just cut little squares out because I know I'm going to need them for little details like this. Okay, so we have that down. Next, we're going to put the brown part of the tree trunk right on top. And again, focus on getting it aligned top left. Okay, and then the rest of it should naturally fall into place. And because of the machines aren't as accurate as we want them to be, and if by chance you have a little bit of that pink showing through alongside, like next to the brown, it actually is kind of nice. It almost gives it like a natural little highlight. So don't beat yourself up if your machine is not cutting as precisely as you wished it would. It will still look really nice. Okay, so that is coming out really nice. And again, if you do have any little areas, like right up here, I have a little spot that I just didn't get enough glue on. I'll just paint a little bit of glue right on that little section and press it down. Okay, so there's that. Next, we have this layer. It's going to go right on top of the brown, just to make that tree look nice and dimensional, and I love how that is turning out. And the pieces are getting a little smaller, so they're easier to work with, easier to align. Go easy with the glue. Okay. Definitely do not go overboard with the glue here. Line that up as accurately as you can. Again, still aiming to get it aligned flush, top, left, and right. Just like that, getting that nice and flat. Beautiful. What a beautiful little landscape. I almost feel like we are painting in a way. Okay, and then this little guy is going to go right here, like that, to add a third layer of dimension to our background. And the cool thing about this is also, let's say you have maybe a spring baby. Well, you can dress this up and pretend that that's like a cherry tree. Say you have a summer baby, you can make this all green. If you have a fall baby, you can give these nice autumn colors. Okay, so there's a lot of things that you can do to customize that, and that's beautiful. Okay, for winter, you're kind of out of luck, I think, because you can't take the leaves off. We didn't really include bare branches, and plus, I don't think any pregnant lady is going to go outside posing in the winter like that. Well, pregnant or not, I don't know if anybody would be interested in doing that. I like to stay inside, right by a cozy fire. Okay, next, you know what? We can kind of piece this together, but we're not going to put it on just yet. Okay, so here's what we have going on. This is Chloe, and Chloe, we've got these two layers here that are identical, and they're the same color. I did ink one of them around the hairline, okay? But these are exactly identical, and we made them identical just to kind of thicken this up so that it's nice and sturdy once you put this frame on there, because we're going to use some foam squares to create some dimension to this card, and they're going to be applied to this piece here. And we figured that one thickness of paper was just not quite enough, to get the job done, and I could maybe have stopped at 2, but we went 3 just to ensure that this thing stays nice and sturdy. Okay, so we need to line that up as accurately as we can. Again, they're identical, so they should fit on top of each other perfectly. I'm going to press that down. Okay. And then we have this white part that's going to go around here. There's a little bit of her hair that kind of comes out because obviously we don't want to hide that. Okay, so we're going to glue this down like so. What I'm going to do, just to make sure that I don't goof up, I'm going to do the top first and just kind of anchor it, and maybe just one of the sides and this part of the bottom. This little part over here that's kind of dangling because it's really thin, I'm going to do that later. I'm going to do that once I get this aligned correctly. You want to make sure you're as accurate as possible. Okay, so once we have that in place, now what I'll do is I'm going to fold this back, and I'm going to try to get glue up in there as far as I can go, nice and easy. And worst case scenario, you can always use the little painting method. I know I got way too much glue on there. It's okay. Very carefully pop that right into place. Make sure it's nice and flush with the edge of that yellow. Pardon my head here. I tried to set up my camera so that my head wouldn't show up even if I kind of go over like that. And I don't know how that's working out, but hopefully it is. Okay, so that's that. And now we can kind of start layering the different layers of Chloe. Okay, so the first layer that's going to go down is this one right here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue everything except for the little strands of hair. I'm going to leave those free floating because at the end I might curl them a little bit to give her hair a little bit of bounce and dimension. Okay, because we want this to be a little bit dimensional. And obviously we can't make it overly dimensional because we do need to put it inside of the envelope, but we can give it a little bit of bounce. We don't want her hair to be completely flat. Okay, so I've got a little bit of glue on the head, and then of course I've got glue on the rest of the body. Match that up with the parts that you can call, I guess, shadow layers. They should match up nicely. Okay, and again, and even if you don't curl the hair, you can see the little shadow there gives that hair some added dimension, which is a very nice touch. Okay, next we're going to put this layer down. The additional hair is actually going to go on top after we get these two pieces down. So we could do this two ways. You can take this piece and glue it right on top of this piece. You have the pink layer back here for the lips. Okay, so that's essentially why that's there, and also to make her a little more sturdy. So we're going to glue that down on top of the pink layer. And in some cases we had to make some strategic decisions because we know the limitations of the machine, and there's parts that you don't want to cut out because they're so small and they're not fun to work with. But this is working out just fine. Let's press that down. Okay. Diana told me that there's no way I'm getting these cards done in 20 to 30 minutes, but I'm going to prove her wrong. Okay, so now this part is going to go on like this. And again, we're just going to match that up with the existing shadow layer, like so. Now for this one, because the eyes and the the eyebrow, such a small little area, we're actually going to use a fine tip marker to paint that in. And I believe, if you want, we also included a print to cut version for the layer. I believe it's this layer, so that will actually, or maybe it's not this layer, I think it's this layer, so that your machine can actually just print the color on there if you don't want to draw it in. I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's what we did. Okay, so we're just gonna match this up. I'm using this little thunderbolt shape down here to help me with that alignment. There we go. That looks good. And I think I'm going to grab my fine tip marker and actually fill that in now before I get any more layers in the way. Okay, so I got myself like a kind of a dark brown. I'm just gonna pop it right in there and just paint it in. And you can see, whoops, my head was in the way, I'm sorry. You can see how it fills it in. My head might get in the way again. Let me just move this over here real quick. Okay, so next, we're gonna start putting together her dress. Okay, and let's get this layered so that you understand how it all works. Okay, so we're going to start off with this part of her dress, and that's going to go down first. And this paper seems to be a little bit thinner than my other paper. So I'm going to make sure to go easier on the glue here. And again, just line it up with the existing section there. Make sure it is on there as accurately as possible. There we go. Okay, next we're going to put this layer down. Like so, just like a little puzzle. There's more hair for her. We'll get that in there in just a bit. Kind of just working on the flat sections of the design right now. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's that. All right, next, we have a second layer that's going to go right on top like this, and we can get that glued down. And just match that up. There are little details there that will help you with the positioning. You'll see them. Okay, there we go. So that's all going to be flat. Then next, we're going to take this element, and this element's going to go right here, but we're going to leave this unglued at the bottom. You can kind of put glue right about here and up here, and then just leave the rest alone. Okay, so just keep your glue focused right up here to about there. The rest of it we're going to leave dimensional. And just line that up like a little puzzle. You got to give that a little nudge. There we go. Okay, so that's going to add a little bit of dimension there. And then, okay, next we're going to put this part of her arm down. Okay, and you can see these little, and you can see these two little nubs here. Those are her knuckles, basically. Okay, so you want to make sure that you bring this down all the way so it matches up there, so it looks like she's holding her belly. Okay, so that's going to go down next. Okay, and then finally, we have this little piece, and that's essentially her blouse. Okay, that's going to go right there. Okay, I need to bring this up closer so I can see what I'm doing. It's kind of getting lost a little bit there. There we go. Okay. And then we do have her other hand. It's this little piece here. And that's going to go right here. You can see there's a sort of a little area that pops out on her dress, and that's where her other hand's going to go. So it's a small piece, so you really just need one little dot of glue on it. And just pop that into place. like so. There we go. Okay, now one thing that I should have done earlier, but it's not too late, it's okay. This little piece of hair, just lift it up. Okay, this little guy here, it's actually gonna go right here. Okay, this is a strand of hair. We just need to pop that right in there like that, and it's not a problem. It's not too late. Just throw a couple dots of glue on this little piece, and then I'm just gonna pop it right into this little area here. It's gonna hit her head up at the top, and then just pop right into that little area there. There we go. Okay, and finally, as far as the hair goes, we have this little piece. Okay, and these little pointy sections here, they're gonna go right on top of each other. And I'm just gonna glue the top part so that the longer part, the strands of hair that kind of go down her back, stay free floating so that we can kind of mess with it later if we want to curl it a little bit. Okay, and this is obviously going to go right here to complete the look. Okay, so we can just put a little bit of glue right here. And just get that glued right onto her head. Just like that. And there she is. Okay, so Chloe's looking great. I'm gonna put her off to the side for just a moment. I'm gonna grab the card base, we're gonna open it up, and what we're gonna do is, using the little markers here, we're gonna position this right in here, like so. Okay, so there's a marker there and a marker there. We're gonna glue this down. It's important that we use those markers just to make sure that our little pop-up mechanism actually works properly, because there's a little purse that opens up inside to reveal a gift card. Okay, so again, hopefully I still need to tweak my setup a little bit. Just make sure that my camera doesn't go out of focus when I'm doing detailed stuff like this. Okay, there we go. Okay, now this side also has some markers, because we do want to make sure that we get these two pieces in the correct spots. So go ahead and get that. This is obviously where you're gonna write your little message or do your stamping. You can have your machine do the writing, whatever you want to do. You got plenty of room inside. Okay. And just line that up with those little markers. They should also, these little cutouts here should also pretty much be right next to each other and almost look like it's mirrored. Okay, it's going to be important. Okay, there we go. Looks great. All right, now let's take a look at our little purse. This is for the envelope. Put that aside. Okay, so you've got this piece, okay, and it's all one piece, so it's pretty easy for the most part. But before you do anything, you're gonna want to put your handles in place, okay? Because we're actually using real ribbon here, and I think I'm gonna go with, let me see, I could go with this sort of ivory color for my ribbon. I think that's fine. I think there's already enough pink there, so I don't want to overload it with pink. Okay, so what we're going to do, this little part here, this little flap, this is basically to kind of sturdy up the top of the bag. Okay, and you're just going to put a little bit of glue right at the very top of it and just bring it down, press it down onto the inside of itself. on both of them. Just like that. Just bring it down. You don't need to put glue on the whole thing. It'll stick. Okay. And then you need to put these pieces down. Okay, these are what actually is going to give the purse some personality. This is where you get to customize, which is always fun. And we're going to actually put glue on this surface rather than trying to put it on our pattern, because we don't really know where to stop the glue on the pattern. Okay, so we'll do that. We're going to do that to both sides. Simply line it up with the existing little cutouts for where the ribbon's going to go for the handle. Okay, just get that lined up nicely, and then you can put that down on your surface and press down. Just like that. That looks nice. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Again, don't forget to actually apply the glue to this surface and not your panel, your decorative panel. I guess you could. I mean, if you have a little bit of glue that's, you know, visible in the back, no one's really going to notice it. But if you want to be meticulous and precise, just do it this way. Okay, line that up, then you can press it down from the inside. That looks great. Okay, now you can actually, if you want, as far as getting the ribbon to stick, you can glue it. I would probably hot glue it or just use regular glue. I'm going to get my hot glue gun out just to make it quick and easy. If you have time and you want to wait for it to dry, you can use regular glue. You can use tape. Tape obviously won't be as permanent, so I kind of advise against that. But like I said, yeah, I think she used hot glue. Okay, so you're going to grab and cut yourself 2 6-inch pieces of ribbon. I think 6 inches is the sweet spot. Okay, we're going to use those for the handles. If you have some ribbon that has the built-in wire in it, probably even better. So it kind of stands up more, but again, not a huge deal. But try to cut them the same length so that there's symmetry. Okay, so I just kind of cut one, then I cut the other one using that one as a guide. Make sure your scissors are nice and sharp. Okay, and my hot glue gun is ready to go. I'm going to take and feed this in like so. Okay, just like that. Let me get this side glued down first. Oops, kind of came out. And I would take it, pull it through just a little bit. You don't need a lot, just like that. Okay, and I'll put a little drop of glue right about there, and just press that down and just hold it for a second. Okay, and then feed it through like so. We'll do the same thing on this side, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side as well, since we need 2 handles. Okay. Just a little dot of glue there. And press that down. There we go. Okay, beautiful little handle. And let's do the same thing on the other side. Probably could have maybe used something with a little more color, but I mean, I don't mind it. Okay, I'm gonna need some more glue here in a minute. That one's probably enough. There we go. Press that down. Okay, let me grab myself a glue stick here. Okay, pop that through. This is perfect for a gift card, obviously. You can put a little note in there too. You could probably fit some earrings in there too. I think that would actually fit. There we go. Press that down. And now, just need to close it up. We're going to put glue on this tab here, like this. Spread that out. Okay. And just line this up with the inside there. Just like that. And you should be able to take this, once it's mostly tacky, you can actually do it this way. I'm kind of folding this over a little bit towards me so I can just push down on that seam there and then eventually just pop it back into place. And there's your little handbag. Okay, these tabs here, we're going to be using these to adhere it to the actual card base. Okay, I'll show you how that works here in just a moment. Okay, so now we have our, actually, you know what, before we forget here, one of these sides has two little markers right there. Okay, and that's for this little pocket. It's just a nice little added touch to the purse so it's not so, you know, boring, I guess you could say, even though it's not boring, but you know what I mean. So let's get that glued down. I'm just going to put glue on all three of these tabs. Make sure you flatten out the tabs. Maybe use your bone folder, or I like to use my, it's my little scraper for, I use it for, what's it called? For vinyl. Okay, and just match that up with the little markers right there on the purse. And just press that down again. It's a nice little pocket. Okay, so that's that. And here's how this is going to work. You want the tabs out like this. Okay, this little tab here, you can see how this little part sticks out. The edge of that is going to go right up to the edge of that little piece right there. So let me move this out of the way for a second so you can see. It's going to get glued right there like so. And we're going to focus on just one side right now. Okay, so go ahead and apply your glue. Now don't bring the glue too close to the actual pattern paper there. Okay, you can, but just make sure it's thinned out because it may bleed onto it. We don't want that. Okay, so we're going to pop this in, line that up like so. Okay, make sure it's right butted up next to it. And then I'm just going to press down like so. And we're going to really be patient with this. Because then what we're going to do is literally just put glue on this other one. And it will naturally grab that other side. And then it will open up nicely. So you'll see how that all works here in just a moment. We're going to make sure that this one gets enough time to fully set before we start tugging on it. Okay, so I'm gonna put that off to the side for a second. Chloe's almost ready. Let's take a look at our envelope. Okay, envelope, just take and fold everything in like so. We're gonna apply a little bit of glue right along the inner edge of each of the flaps, like that. And just bring this up and press down. Just hold that in place for just a moment. Let it set. Okay. Then we have this little guy. This little guy is going to go right in the center of the top flap, just to kind of give it a little extra, well, just a two-tone sort of look. And what I want you to do is I want you to just do a few little drops around the pattern here. Don't make them big, just real small. Okay, and then for this, focus the rest of the glue along the perimeter, nice and easy. You don't want it squirting out. I guess it is on the inside, so it's not a huge deal if a little bit squirts out, but keep it away from those little cutouts. Okay, and just do your best to get it nice and centered on that top flap so that ultimately, once we're done, we have that. And then you can take this little heart and just apply a little bit of glue to that heart. And of course I had to do that. And it's going to go right in there to give it a three-toned look. Okay, so that's your envelope. Now let's go back to the card base. And now, as I mentioned, we're going to take and apply glue to this tab, mostly towards the edge. And then I'm going to take and spread it, bring it in a little bit, but not too close to that design. And now, literally just take it and make sure that tab is flat, and go ahead and close this, and just continue to apply pressure right where that tab is. Okay, so this little handle is going to stick out a little bit. You can tuck it in. That's fine, not a big deal. And all that's left to do now is apply some foam squares, or you can use foam tape if you prefer, to the back of, I'm going to put this underneath my mat over here just to let it dry completely before I start messing with anything. Now, like I mentioned, it's just a matter of applying foam squares. Oh, my card's over there. I really dislike these white ones, but at the same time, I don't like the black ones on a light colored card like this. But you know what? These are small enough to where I think it'll be okay. They're not gonna show through. So I'm gonna start by applying foam squares to the corners. Then of course you want some in the middle between the two that you just put down. Now in this case here, I'm actually going to go here and then here, because I don't think I need 5 there. So I'm going to do this one here and then here. For these longer sides, I definitely want to add more. That would be good there. That would be good there. Whoops. Okay, and then let's add a few onto the back of Chloe. We'll flip this over, just kind of give it a little push test. I think that's good. Let's peel these off. And I guess technically if you wanted to, you could glue this down flat, but it kind of takes away from the overall idea that we had with giving this sort of like a frame, like she's popping out of the scene sort of look to make it unique. I think that's really special. Okay, so the card is under my mat over there, drying so that the purse pops up nicely. So I'm going to pop it out without destroying anything. Let's test the mechanism. There it is. Opens beautifully. Nice little purse inside there. And now just need to put Chloe into the scene. Now this bottom and bottom right is going to be flush with the edge of the card there, but you can see how beautiful that end result is. And of course you have a little purse inside, your coordinating envelope, and you are good to go. So it's going to do it for Chloe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Hit that little bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new project, whether it be paid or free. And if you make this or anything from our Spring Whispers bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Official, and that's where you'll find myself and over 45,000 other dreamers that inspire us daily. So I hope you had a blast putting this together. And as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos and please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section where you'll find over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly tutorials. I'll see you in the craft room.